I have no idea what just happened. I always have a damn signal. I've always got a signal going. But YouTube informed me that, you know, your video has been paused um, because of a bad signal. I've got a damn signal. That's some BS right there. Sounds like some communist stuff going on. Anyways. That video went bye-bye. So, I'm making a new video for y'all. Alright. Let's get more serious, because I've just been ranting and raving here. Just been ranting and raving. But I hate to talk about such a heady subject. Such a stuffy subject, Makes me think of one of these old professors in a lab coat. Not a lab coat, but like, dry and boring. And no one wants to listen to someone talk about... But it's been coming to my mind a lot that life... Who the hell is that outside? Oh. Life is... You know what? Yeah, I use a little tap water in my coffee. My ex-girlfriend, she hated that. She hated it. Wait, there it is. It's back. Okay, that was... Man, technology, man. Gets on my damn nerves. Yeah. Life, man. It's supposed to be an adventure. We need to go out and do stuff. It's important. We have to engage in life with all our energies. Last night I used the example. If you're playing a video game, what if you were like, I'm only going to half play it. I'm going to half play this video game. I'm not going to take it seriously. I'm going to half play. And then I'm going to get up and get a bite to eat while the game's still going. And a bunch of enemies fucking kill your ass, In the video game, like... or if you're composing a symphony and you're like, I'm only going to like half put my effort into this symphony. I'm going to only half do it. Well, that's life. Life is our symphony, like, I don't know. It's a heady subject. It really is. Very heady subject. Very stuffy, Feels like there's dust and moths around. Just thinking about it. Dusty old books. It's like if I wanted to hear a lecture about this, I'd talk to my parents. But, yeah, I'm sunburned as hell, but, we have to engage in life, like, this is it, like, this is our masterpiece, It's important. I think that often we have our minds full of memories and ideas and plans for the future that we miss the present moment. We miss the present moment. And guess what? Once this moment is past, it will be a memory. Anyone watching me live right now, once this video is done, let's say, 30 minutes, whenever the hell it's done, watching this video will be a memory to you. You'll remember back when you saw this video of this, this individual. It will become a memory. Once events pass, they pass into memories. So we need to engage in life. I believe that. Got people texting me and everything. Leave me alone. I'm making a video, y'all. It will be a memory. We have to engage in life. We have to experience the present. You know, if if you're at work, I don't know what you do. Maybe you're a baggage handler at the airport. Maybe you're a Uber driver, or a you know, a podiatrist. You look at feet all day. Whatever the hell you do, you gotta engage with all your energies. You have to like put your focus into what you're doing, and that's how you move up in the company. That's how you achieve. We have to engage in life. If your friends invite you out to ride motorcycles, you should probably take it. There was a movie with Jim Carrey. Actually, one of my favorite actors. I like Jim Carrey. He's like a contortionist. He does this stuff with his face, you know, Jim Carrey. Now he's got the beard and everything going. But back in the day, Jim Carrey, he was a badass, you know. I used to watch In Living Color and everything. Jim Carrey's a badass. But he was in a movie. Damn it. Where was my thought process going? Yes Man. Yes Man was the movie. He decided that he would say yes to everything, and his whole life changed. His whole life changed. You want to go skydiving? Yes. His neighbor, that is not attractive, invited him to sex. He said, yes, I think I'll do that. He, whatever life threw his way, he engaged in life. Well, I would not go with a horny neighbor like that. That was a little over the top, but, well, he made a commitment to say yes to anything. So there's good and bad in that. We don't want to say yes to anything. Would you like to try these, you want to play Russian roulette? Yes, no. I don't. But the point is, Yes Man was the movie. His whole life changed. Your friends invite you to ride motorcycles, you should probably do it. You'll have the memory. You have the experience. But so often we're trapped in our minds. Mental prison. This is supposed to be the light of man, the reasoning faculty, the philosophical instrument. And yet, that which is intended for clarity, the mind is meant to navigate the world in clarity and wisdom and knowledge. And yet the mind clouds us because we're always drawn into the past. Memories. We plan for the future. Hopes and fears, pain and suffering, whatever. But we miss the present moment. Some of the most enlightened individuals on the planet that ever lived, that left a record, have said this. This was their fucking message. Some of the most enlightened individuals that ever existed that like figured shit out. This is what they said, you know. I'm talking about the Buddha, you know, Siddhartha Gautama, like whoever. He said, you know what? We're always thinking about the past, dreaming about the future. We lose the present moment. If you're in a hotel pool, you know, you're in a pool with a hot, sexy woman in a bikini. She's under your arms, in the water. Gotta be in that moment, y'all. Can't lose it, you know? Got a hot woman in a bikini in a pool. Be in that fucking moment, because that will just be a memory. At some point, you'll say, you know what? That moment is gone. You know, we gotta be there. Anyways, like we gotta be there in the moment. Whatever you're doing, you get invited to something, you should go. What are you gonna do? Read a book, watch YouTube? Like we have to engage with friends and family and life, and suffering is not always bad. I've come to that conclusion. Suffering is not bad. If you pinch yourself, you know you're alive, at least. If I stump my toe, I know I'm alive. I'm experiencing. Sometimes pain gives us the greatest lessons. We tend to view everything through a filter of good and bad. I like that. I didn't really like that. Life does not give a shit if you like it. Life doesn't care. But life is the instructor. Life doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't care if we enjoyed that experience, you know? I've seen memes, I've seen memes on Facebook. Some of these enlightened spiritual memes, the memes, they talked about like spiritual guides, whatever, guardian angels, whatever, rubbing their hands like, what's the next lesson we can give this guy or gal or, whatever. But this is what we have. Like, doesn't pain and suffering at least show that we live, that we exist, that we breathe? I work out a lot. I've lost a shit ton of weight. Most of my life I've been skinny. I gained a little weight, for a number of years. Around 2012, started packing on a little weight. I lost it. I fucking lost it. And now I lift weights. And I've built muscle like I've never had before. I could beat my own ass if I can go back in time to do it. But for those gym enthusiasts out there, you get that DOMS, you get the pain after a workout. It's painful. It sucks. But after a while, you start to enjoy it. You start to know that pain means that I had a good workout. I stressed my muscles. Yeah, it hurts to get up. It hurts to walk down the stairs the next day. But you know that because of that, you know that you engaged in something. It's better to suffer and have pain than to stare looking at a wall. Sometimes things are like really bad, and that's not good. Like if things are like really bad, that's different, I'm not talking about all experiences, but sometimes pain is better than feeling nothing, than not engaging. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process on that. Another thing that gets me about society is the tendency to demonize those with an opposing viewpoint when they go against the mainstream narrative. The witch hunters, essentially, those that want to attack those with an opposing viewpoint, they always see themselves in the most flattering poses. They might as well be a model, a sexy hot model in their own minds, because they're a sexy hot model in their own minds because they see themselves as in the most flattering poses. I am fighting the good fight. I'm doing what's right. Got my coffee, y'all, but it's kind of what the Inquisition thought. The Inquisition. They thought they were fighting for what is right. Let's go back to an Islamic society where everyone believes in this religion. And I'm not trying to stereotype a religion. It's really not my intention here. But let's go back to a caliphate. And really, maybe that's a bad example, because during a certain period of that history, Jews and Christians were very well treated compared to Christian Europe. But the point is, you have a pagan, a heretic. The whole world believes in this ideology, this paradigm. Your world, your whole world, the whole community So they do the witch hunt. They believe they're in the right to take down and destroy. Societal values shift and change over time. But I don't know. There's something that gets me. And there are really two types of thinkers in society. There are social thinkers and independent thinkers. Two different types. I forgot who the psychiatrist, whatever the fuck, came up with this observation. But societal thinkers, social thinkers, they look in terms of the group. Well, what does everyone else believe? And they have probably a biologically evolved mechanism within themselves that has a fear of being outed from the group. You have to understand, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, if you are cast out from the tribe, you're left to the elements. It's pretty much death. To be cast out from the community is death. Not going to survive, probably. So banishment is maybe we don't have the same dangers in our modern society, but there could possibly still be that mechanism at work that we fear banishment. And this is where social thinking comes in. Conforming to the hive. Because we don't want to be kicked out of the hive. We don't want to be the lonely bee that has no place to place his honey, to make that honey, y'all. So yeah. Usually when independent thinkers tend to be interested by ideas that go against the hive. So these are really the two types of individuals. Now, in our modern society, everyone likes to feel included. Everyone likes to feel that they're special. And so most people are going to want to think that they are independent thinkers. But if you left one hive and joined another one, that's not really a sign of independent thought. Do you feel the need for community? No. I think that all people are social and independent thinkers at different levels. No one is going to do whatever anyone tells them. Most people will question. Like, most people, if like a con artist knocks on your door, obviously a con artist, being like, whatever con they're trying to push. Most of us will be like, I think they're trying to get one over on me. I think they're trying to rob me over here. Okay? Everyone has the independent thought, and everyone has a social thought. Most people do. And it's not bad. It's not bad in itself to want to meet others of like mind. It's quite normal, and it's good. It's not bad. I think of it like a XY axis on a chart. It's a chart, XY axis, where we placed upon it. If you look at the history of civilization, society, to a large extent, has been the masses, the masses of the people, and leaders, whether it be kings, monarchs, intellectual leaders, religious leaders, wealthy benefactors of the society. It's always existed. This is human organisms. It's how we evolve. The great mass of the people will always blend in with the crowd to a large extent. Very few are those people that will break away from that herd. And those that break away could either become a hermit or a shepherd, more or less. Not really much of a choice. It's not something you choose. It's something to bear, in a way. Will you be a hermit or a shepherd? It's not easy. These are pretty much the options placed upon independent thinkers. What is the nature of mankind? Are human beings hierarchical? Well, that's a whole other can of worms. What is the nature of government? What is the nature of God, the soul? Is there a soul? Is there a God? Is there an afterlife? Do we need leaders telling us what to do? I think yes, but anyways. These are big questions. Religion and government. How do we organize society? Wow. There's a lot of random thoughts here today. Coffee hour with Clint McInnis. It's coffee hour going on. These people, man, they're walking around all day long. They're walking around. I don't know. Something interesting in Greek philosophy is that they divide the soul of man into the irrational and the rational. The irrational soul, and we're not talking about religion per se, or Christianity, or whatever religion. We're talking about Greek philosophy. We're talking about Plato. More accurately, Neoplatonism of Iamblichus and Proclus, We're looking at a snapshot of Greek philosophy from, let's say, first few centuries of our common era. This was really expounded upon. The irrational and rational soul. The soul or psyche, the word they used, referring to our consciousness, more or less. Okay. Back then, they didn't know that the fucking brain, controlled all this shit. They didn't know, okay? They didn't know that, emotions and thoughts and whatever, fear, primitive instincts, they didn't know that this was, placed in an organ in our head. They looked at everything through the lens of the soul. The irrational soul was all of our appetites, our desires. The desires for food and sex, anger, wanting revenge, to get something back on that person who hurt me. I want a nice pizza. I want to have sexual relations with a sexy hot lady in a bikini, in a pool, or something of that regard. Something out there. I don't know why I was so specific. Yeah, that's the irrational soul. The rational soul is our logic and our wisdom, knowledge. And in tarot, whatever your views on divination, we have to acknowledge that tarot was historically for playing cards, playing games. Medieval Europe dates back to the late 14th century in Italy. Some will argue that tarot goes back to ancient Egypt, the Egyptian Book of Thoth, y'all. But the earliest tarot decks that we clearly see go back to Milan, Italy in the 14th century. Although this was a gameplay, a lot of it for gambling, passing time, there were certain images of a deeply symbolic nature that are part of the shared cultural framework of Western civilization. The charioteer is a card, part of the major arcana. The charioteer has a white horse and a black horse. And of course, all of us have studied Plato. We already know this is the chariot allegory of the soul, the psyche. I'm sure we've all read Plato and understand that this is the chariot allegory. We have internal conflict between the animal passions and the rational soul. Now, the animal passions in themselves are not bad. There's nothing wrong with having a nice slice of pizza. Nothing wrong with having sex with a hot lady. All right? Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes our passions control us. We are no longer able to steer the ship. And if we look at the history of religion, spirituality, we look at the history of religion, spirituality. We see it in Christianity, definitely. In Christianity. It's in the writings of Paul, the epistles. It's found in monasticism. It's definitely part of Christianity and the church. But not that alone. It's also found in China, in Taoism. We have the Chuan-Jin lineage of Taoism, for example, which has a lot to do with asceticism. We see it in India, in yoga, which obviously sprang from Hinduism. Now, whatever your views on religion, maybe you see it as a bunch of superstitious poppycock, you know? Just a bunch of superstitious whatever. Maybe you see one of these religions as the truth, and so you disregard the others. Nonetheless, in the history of those trying to reach transcendence, in the history of those trying to reach the divine, in the history of religious thought, we see a common thread in many of these paths. And that is the ability to tame the passions, to not be controlled by them, to be able to steer the ship, so to speak. Now, going back to Plato, which was obviously a Greek pagan philosophy, began around the 4th century BCE. It was also incorporated a lot into Christianity in the medieval period. You know, and they kind of went with Aristotle, little bit Aristotle, but Aristotle, a lot of what he did was a carryover of Plato. He talked about the chariot allegory of the soul. The horses go in different directions, and the charioteer, the I or ego, is unable to steer or direct. He said that the soul of man would ascend to the heavens to dwell among the gods. But because we are unable to tame the passions in the mind, to direct ourselves, what it is, it's like having a car that fucking drives itself. You're not able to tell the car where to go, because the car kind of like, you're like, I'm going to go left, and the car goes, we're going right. What if there is what if there's incoming traffic, and you're like, I want to steer this way, and the car says, we're going to go head-on collision. Nobody wants that. We want to be able to drive a car. So if we want the ability to drive a car and tell it what to do, why don't we want to govern ourselves, to steer ourselves? Nobody wants a car that just irrationally just goes off and decides what it wants to do while you're driving. And we're not even talking about a destination. We're talking about human life. Human life. Our lives. Just as we don't want to be in a car that makes decisions without us. we need to be able to govern ourselves. We want to be able to steer the ship. What does this take? It's not a fun answer. It takes discipline, willpower. Now, going back to, I'm sure that this is probably boring the hell out of everyone. People want to get the hell out of here. Thank you, Clint. I'll take my leave and go, watch a cartoon or something. But those of you that are still with me, or will, depending on how many eventually watch the video, the chariot allegory, white horse, black horse, okay. This also is a good symbol of the willpower. There was a book written called The Willpower Instinct. This was written by McGonigal. I know McGonigal is the last name. I don't remember the first name. Seems like it was Terry McGonigal. I don't remember. The Willpower Instinct by McGonigal. Okay. This book goes into how the willpower is found in the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain right behind the forehead. The prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is able to say no to ourselves. Let's say a person is trying to lose weight, but they really want that ice cream, with the whipped cream and all that stuff, cherry on top. They want that caramel, whatever. The prefrontal willpower, the prefrontal cortex, the willpower is able to say no. I may have that craving, but I'm not going to do it because it goes against my higher desires to lose weight, for self-improvement. The willpower is capable of saying no to our lower impulses. Now, if we want to go back to ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, Babylon, you want to go back to these ancient civilizations and what they were trying to tell us. And really, if you go into the Bible, into Scripture, it was saying the same thing, okay? St. Paul was writing the same thing. Now, if people want to eschew religion as a nonsensical superstition and go pursue pleasure and whatever, that's fine. But this is part of civilization. This is part of being a human being, because we are not just individuals. We are also like cells to a larger organism. We are part of a collective. We're part of something higher. We are part of a hive. To break away a person from the larger mass of humanity is like trying to break a wave away from the ocean. Can't be done. You may break away and go sit on a mountaintop or live in the woods. You're still going to have the same emotions, the same hopes and fears, the same experiences, the same biological needs as any other human on this planet. Now, we can detach ourselves from knowledge and disregard knowledge. That's, something that a person can do. I don't want wisdom or this type of thing. It's fine. But basically what I'm getting at is that this is what the ancient Greeks, this is what these ancient peoples, this is what Christianity, this is what all these systems taught. We have to be able to say no to ourselves and our hedonistic tendencies to just seek after blind pleasure sometimes blindsides us to the larger picture. Willpower is also the ability to make us do things that we don't want to do. Let's say you want physical fitness. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to go outside in the cold and go for a run. You got to work for these higher level goals you have, but you kind of like to call into work and sleep in. So willpower has two horses, like the chariot card in tarot. The two horses are also the ability to tell ourselves no for a higher purpose instead of immediate gratification. The ability to tell ourselves no, and the ability to make us do things we don't feel like, saying yes. And so we have two different things going on here. We have the passions, our bestial desires, animalistic nature. Now, the reason that I call it bestial or animalistic is because these are primitive drives. But as human beings, we have evolved abstract thought. We have evolved these higher aspects of the mind. Now, the primitive nature is part of nature. These primitive drives are obviously part of nature, or we wouldn't have them. If I didn't have a fear of pain, I wouldn't care if I stumped a toe or lost a limb. If I didn't have the desire to sleep, I would stay awake and go insane. If I didn't have the desire for food, like many people would starve. Like, these instincts are not bad in themselves, but they could become destructive when conflicting with the higher level goals. Now, this higher region of thought, to seek for a purpose, whether it is career or love or spiritual purposes, this requires a taming of the bestial or animalistic nature and instincts. Now, there is a big difference between suppression, which is to totally demonize and say no to these impulses, and control. What the hell? Damn, man, people calling me while I'm trying to make a video, man. You're messing up my groove. So, where was I? We don't demonize these impulses and say that they're evil in themselves, but we tame and control them. And this is why the yogi will fast for 3 days, not eat any food, no water, nothing. This is why people choose intentional celibacy, including masturbation. I'm not trying to be gross or, what's the word, uncouth by mentioning that. But it is a good practice. Let's say I will not have sex of any kind for 2 weeks, including masturbation. Because if you masturbate, you're cheating. If you could avoid any kind of sexual gratification for 2 weeks, what have you gained? You've gained a little bit of control. If you always get hungry and you feel your stomach growling at lunchtime, you could miss that meal. You don't have to go days without eating like the ancient ascetics. The ancient monks or yogis would do this regularly. Taoist monks in China. But you can skip lunch. You could choose to not have sex for 2 weeks, per se, which is damn near impossible. But anyways, what do you gain? You gain control. So, the next time that you're trying to lose weight and you want that ice cream, you're able to say no. The next time you're in a monogamous relationship and someone really attractive keeps trying to sleep with you, you're able to think of your children and your family and your love life and say no. You're able to show up to work early, not just on time, early, and work extra hard, and be able to do the things that we need to do to push yourself through schooling or whatever. This is why some individuals never really make it. They never really accomplish or fulfill, and we're all at different levels of that. I could throw that at myself too. You know what? I'm known, I make these videos, whatever, but I've got lots of problems myself. A lot of problems, a lot of things I got to deal with. My point is that our problems are not just our own. People around the world have had these same problems for thousands of years. And we're always trying to reinvent the wheel when actually we can gain from ancestral knowledge. We can gain from people that have been there. They figured this shit out. Okay? This is the ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom. And it's not a recipe for fun. You know, I'm going to go without food for a while and not have any sex. Well, that's not very fun. It's not a recipe for fun. But overall, we're able to see that the higher pleasure that we derive through discipline, through struggle, through dealing with contending forces within ourselves, leads to something higher. We are no longer in the valley. We have climbed the mountain. We have come to a higher level, and we are able to look down upon the world and see farther vistas. We are able to move upward to the places that we want to be. We have to stop desiring these lofty goals, and then we say, I will never fulfill that. What is your goal? What do you want? A big house and a swimming pool? What do you want? The love of your life? All of these things, like, we just have to, in order to achieve these things, we have to be able to tune down our base level instincts for something that is higher. It is deeper than that. And anyways, I got a visitor, y'all. Gotta get off the phone. So that's my rant for today. More stuff to come. What do you think? What do you think? As we are kind of nodes in a larger network of human beings and minds, I think it's good to share back and forth. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for today. Have a good day, y'all. Lynn said, do you do that often? What's that? Let's see. Yeah, I agree. We have to have the higher aspect of that, not just, let's see here. Famas said, Charioteer reminds me a lot of Abraxas too. Taming the snakes is the sort of Christ. Krishna or Arjuna in the chariot, streeting the horses. Christine said, love you, cuz. Love you too, cousin. Yeah, anyways, have a great day, everyone. It was nice talking to y'all, and see y'all next time. Bye, y'all. Waving my hands. Bye. I might be moving up to Washington State pretty soon. From Texas. Going up to Washington, y'all. Anyways, have a good day, y'all.